doing it every show, I screw up. Hey guys, welcome to tonight's episode of the LGBTQ Voice. I'm hosting tonight. Traci Welch, Eileen and I traded a day, so I'm here this evening, and Eileen will be back next month. Before I introduce our guests this week, I wanted to let you guys know about our guests from last week and the Women's March. So I know AJ's gonna, AJ, did we able to get that out? Yep, there we go. We have a schedule of the Women's March for South Coast. So on your screen, Friday night is 5 to 9 at Luna Fest at the Italian Theater. 9 p.m. is the after party at the Slante Irish Pub. Saturday, 9 a.m. in Women's Forum at New Bedford Art Museum. At 10:30, they're having a men's forum of at Solstice. 12 o'clock is the Women's March starting at Custom House Square. At 2:30, Beyond Me 2 at New Bedford Public Library. At 3 o'clock, for Sisterhood Awards at New Bedford Harbor Hotel. And Sunday, if you guys remember, there's going to be a free makeover at Style Maker Salon. And at 3 o'clock is the Martin Luther King Jr. Day at the Israel Congregation. So yeah, please take a look at that. It'll be on your screen, so you can kind of take a look at it at any time and kind of write it down. As you guys know, I like to set up the phone here and make sure I can answer your questions, comments, concerns. If you have shout outs, please go ahead and do so. I'm trying to figure out where it is. We're here, and we're here. Make sure I get it on. See? Every time. Every time. I think I do it. I do it like 18 times. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. So tonight's guests, we're going to be talking about River Pride and there's actually new LGBTQ Bedford Winter Film Series. So we have Sean, I'm going to say, let me get my notes because I just moved it. Sean Connell is from the Fall River Pride Committee. We have Antonio Rodriguez.
Everyone.
And Marlon, I will say Marlon wrong, Marlon Barrows. So if you guys know, these guys have been working on the Winter Film Series last year and this year, and Antonio joined our board for the South Coast LGBTQ Network a couple months ago?
Yeah, about that.
About a couple months ago. And Marlon has always helped out and has been a terrific guest for our community and an activist for the community. So thank you both for coming. I appreciate that. I know you guys well. And I met Sean recently. So Fall River Pride, we're going to talk about Fall River Pride first. So Sean, why does Fall River need a pride?
Yeah, so, I was born and raised in Fall River. I grew up there. And, the sad reality of the fact is we're still kind of a little bit behind, I think, when it comes to acceptance and understanding. I learned the derogatory words for gay people in 3 different languages by the time I was 10. So, I never thought in a million years we'd have any sort of pride, anything in Fall River because, growing up, it was really kind of just hopeless and didn't really seem like there was much of a community. And I remember one of the first Pride events I went to, there was actually a school committee member who talked about and compared us to the fetish flea and put up all these pictures of bondage and weird things that kind of weirdly sexualize the LGBT community. And that's not what Pride was to me at all. Pride was the first time I went to Pride Boston with the Durfee Pride group. And that was the first time I realized that there's a bigger community working on acceptance and tolerance and understanding that we are part of the community. We're our own community, but we're part of the bigger community and there's nothing wrong with us. So for Fall River, it was really important for us to kind of make sure that they understand that that diversity is important and that we can be a community within the Fall River community for greater forces of good for the city.
We actually, as a network, took over the New Bedford Pride 4 years ago. We actually met with Fall River. We actually went to a town meeting. We weren't sure where we were going to have it at that point in time, and we decided that we wanted it at Buttonwood Park in New Bedford. South Coast Equality did a great job, and South Coast, who are we now? South Coast LGBT Network. God help me, there's too many letters.
LGBTQ Network.
Yeah, this will be our 4th year at Buttonwood Park. So we're so pleased to have, a Fall River. I don't care if Pawtucket wants to do one. Wherever anybody next door wants to do a Pride, more power to it. We ended up changing the name from New Bedford Pride to South Coast Pride because the South Coast LGBTQ Network had it, and there hasn't been many prides around. So we want to encompass all the towns in the South Coast. So we'll be more than glad to help everybody, which I know Eileen is going to be meetings, and not you, right?
I just went to the great party that you guys had to kick it off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely. So what are your hopes of having a Fall River Pride?
Yeah, so we're still a very new group. We started last summer during Pride Month, and we had a couple of city councilors, Pamela Alberti-LeBeau and Stephen Camara, who really kind of took the charge to bring some sort of festival to Fall River. And we did a little pride flag raising ceremony where we actually raised the pride flag up at Government Center, and we had a little dedication. We had cake, and kind of from there, the idea was born, well, why don't we have a pride here in Fall River? Why don't we have more of a festival? Why isn't this more of an event? And so from that, the idea was born that we have to create this group, the Fall River Pride Committee, to try to bring, bring that energy and that spirit to Fall River as well. We actually are extremely excited to be part of the South Coast LGBTQ Network. We are officiated as a working project for you guys this past November,
Correct.
and it's been incredible working with you guys.
So they're under our umbrella, if you want to call it that. We have a 501c3 status, and the money, so we're going to kind of be their fiscal conduit and kind of help them grow and go.
Yeah.
If you want to call it that.
And you guys have been incredible. You guys have come to our meetings. You guys have helped us with the finances and how we were going to do that, because when we first started, it was because we're so new, we floundered a little bit, and there was a lot of balls up in the air, and we were trying to figure so many ideas and so many things that we wanted to do, and we needed some direction, and we needed someone who has done Pride events before. And I've been to New Bedford Pride. I think it is awesome, and I think that Fall River could do something that very similar to that.
Well, it's funny. I mean, Eileen is our network coordinator, and she's been going to your meetings. Eileen is amazing, and I'm so glad that that you guys have reached out, and we've been more than glad to help. I just think it's amazing that people still don't realize what's going on in each community, and if we grow, can you imagine if there was a Pride in every town? I mean, obviously June month is only so small, So with ours being June 1st, what were you guys looking for? Like, when and where would your Pride be held?
So we were thinking we're either looking at June 1st or June 8th. We didn't want to cut into Providence Pride, which is a big event for our city because it's the closest big Pride to us. Yeah. And theirs is the 15th. So we were looking at doing something either the 1st or the 8th. We kind of wanted to work with you guys on what you guys were doing, how you guys have done it. We're a little baby group, so we're just kind of getting started about what we want to do and how we want it to look and how Fall River is going to receive us. One of the big things we were worried about was that reception. But with our last event that we hosted last month, it was an absolutely incredible time, and it was incredible to see the community embrace us like that.
So I just want to say, if that's an indication of how well how successful you're going to be, that was a great event. I believe it was at Tonic in Fall River.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was a really good time.
So what we're talking about is we went to your drag brunch. You want to tell us about it?
So I was just going to, the perfect segue. So we actually held our first event at Tonic Lounge in Fall River, right on South Main Street. And they were an incredible venue. They were incredibly accommodating with us. It was spacious. We were able to decorate it and make it look incredible.
It was a Christmas theme.
It was a Christmas themed drag brunch. And so we had the Queens of the South Coast featuring our extra special guest, Tila Renee. They were absolutely fantastic to work with. The show was fantastic. And we were nervous, right? Because it was our first event and we didn't know how the community would receive us. And, we really wanted to get as many tickets sold as we could. And we wanted to make sure there were a lot of people in that room so we can kind of do the whole we're here, we're queer, and we love you, love us kind of thing. And that's how it happened. And the drag brunch went off incredibly. It was just such an amazing event. It was a beautiful time. We had a little silent auction. We had a resource fair table. We had partners from the city council. We had partners in the mayor's office. We had partners through organizations that were in the city. It just exceeded all of our expectations.
And the food was amazing.
And there was cake.
And
we had the cake. That was the original Pride cake.
I have to be in the mood for cake.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was the original Rainbow Pride cake, donated from a city councilor, and it was just an incredible. Food was provided by Scotty's, and they helped us. Scotty's Pub, who does catering now. A little shout out to them. And they were really incredible working with us and making sure that everything kind of went off without a hitch. And as one of the co-chairs of the group, it's so stressful to plan events, and event planning is a lot, and it really blew our expectations, and we were so proud and we were so happy, and we now have a little cushion to start planning what we want to do next.
And it was standing room only. It was really a full house.
But it wasn't like it was like Sardinia-ish. It was still a nice room.
I think you sold all the tickets.
We sold almost all the tickets.
And the restrooms were nice restrooms. Sometimes you go to a place, you're like, I haven't been there before, but everything was amazing.
It was everything.
It was everything.
Yeah, as soon as you walked in,
tens across the board.
Felt welcome. The resource table, and of course Eileen was there for and had our table and our resources there as well. So you mentioned you were co-chair. Who's the other co-chair?
Yep, so our other co-chair's name is Jeff, and then we also have our secretary Trish and our treasurer Josh. They're incredible people. We're just kind of, like I said, we're just kind of forming our board and how we're going to kind of continue to move forward and have a better process for voting, because there's a lot of ideas of what the poster should look like and what everything should be and how it should be done. So it's just a lot to do. Event planning, I don't think people realize how much goes into event planning, and that's a small brunch. So as we want to do bigger events, we have to continue to kind of be organized, and we want to actually meet more. Right now, we've only been meeting once a month. So we want to switch over to a two times a month meeting style, where we'll have a working meeting for our committees, and then we'll also have a general meeting for the public as well. So that way we're constantly having 2 meetings a month between now and June when we want to have our festival.
It's funny, when we formed our network, we actually just got a whole bunch of people together in a room, although of course right at the time we had members, and it was Fairhaven Council on Aging, it was the Bristol DA's office, it was our youth group, it was Project Yes. We had a whole bunch of people, and we just grabbed everybody's bylaws, everybody's procedures and stuff, and we said, what do you think? And we said, we just took one and we added to it, we subtracted to it, next thing you know, we were done. It only took us, a few meetings. People were like, you did it that quick? I'm like, yeah, we just sat around. When you borrow somebody else's stuff, it's easy to start with. When you start at the beginning going, oh my God, I have no idea what we're doing, so having Eileen, like I said, anybody from our group would be more than glad to help.
That's exactly how it kind of happened, because we had so many ideas and there's so much passion, and the community in Fall River is really vibrant and more connected than I think people realize. So to kind of figure out what we wanted to do and how we were going to place ourselves within the city and within the the greater Fall River community was nerve-wracking, because we didn't know what we wanted to do, but that's exactly what we did. Is we borrowed stuff from you guys, we borrowed stuff from some other pride organizations, we managed to get our bylaws adopted, we managed to get our purpose and our mission statements all down, and then that's when we got that event off the ground.
I know I usually go over the questions some ahead of time, but there's actually NERP, which is Northeast Regional Prides, and this year it's going to be in Pennsylvania. I get to go this year, and I went to Rhode Island. Rhode Island hosted it last year, so you may want to look into NERP, which is Northeast Regional Prides. Okay, it's a great organization and a lot of great tools and great help when we first started. So
that'd be awesome. And
I was on Cape Cod Gay Pride in the '90s, so I was part of NERP back then. So when we formed ours, I was like, what was that? Is it Northeast? What was it? And I just remembered it was NERP, so I just put NERP in Facebook, and I joined them on Facebook and kind of did that. You just never know.
I just want to say that I want to take this time to thank you for doing this, because this is an incredible endeavor and it's so needed. And for you to be so young and so on top of this and wanting to create a sense of community and really make sure that we're visible, that we're accepted, that we are known, and to just create this pride is more than just that. It brings people to a place where they feel welcomed, where they don't feel rejected. And it's important that you're doing that work. And at 30, I'm sorry for saying your age.
That's all right.
I'm thrilled, and I thank you personally. I don't think people know how much work it takes and how brave the work is sometimes. So thank you.
I definitely could not do it alone. Like the people, the officers, my co-chair, the people who've been coming to the meeting, the network. I mean, it really was a collaboration as we started to kind of hammer the stones down and where we want to go with our direction and purpose. There are other organizations in Fall River too that work on LGBTQ issues, and we're working with them so that way we can have all the kind of resources compiled and kept together, because there's so much work to do on acceptance and tolerate, especially in the age that we're in now, where there's a lot of trans erasure and there's a lot of hate and vitriol that comes towards LGBT people every day, even in 2019. So to be able to kind of have this organization up and running in Fall River just warms my heart, and to have you guys and your support was just blew my mind, because I was freaking out days before. I was like, oh my God, the event is Sunday, because it's our first event, and we weren't sure. And it all started over cake.
So
let them eat cake.
So while we're doing the show, there have been hearts fluttering. Someone says, Traci with a heart smiley face, thank you. Rebecca from our committee says, hello all.
Hello, Rebecca.
Carla Montevallo says, hi Traci, nice to see you after so many years. Hi Carla. Gleason Lima has a rainbow flag, and I can't tell, it's green with yellow. Is that Brazil?
That's Brazil.
Brazil.
That's my friend in Brazil, yeah.
So I'd like to give shout outs and hellos to people as we're doing the show. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything that we're talking about tonight, you can email Eileen or Traci at sclgbtqnetwork.org. I want to make sure that you guys know to get a hold of us that way. You can post some nice things on here, and if there are some not nice things, then you'll be deleted for life. I don't do that. Bye-bye!
Well, I also also love that we have this reach to Brazil, because Brazil also just elected a president who is very openly anti-LGBT. So to kind of have this voice out there, I think is incredibly important.
Well, one of the shows, someone said, "Hi, I'm here from Puerto Rico." So somebody was watching from Puerto Rico, and I was like, "Wow, that was really cool." Because after each show, it's on the Bedford Guys Facebook page, and then we share it wherever we can. So if you can share from the River Pride Committee, and everybody can share it, maybe one day, we'll be national.
We already are.
We're already global.
So is there a Facebook page that folks can go to see your events, maybe donate if they need to, or volunteer opportunities?
So because we are underneath the network, we are borrowing your nonprofit status. So if you want to donate, you have to donate through the South Coast LGBTQ network.
But designate
Fall River Pride Committee. That's also what we are on Facebook, FRPC, the Fall River Pride Committee. We have 2 groups because we started as a little baby group, and then we became a big public page. So look for the public page that you can like with the thumbs up, and that's our official page. We have our first working meeting after the holiday break. Is this coming Friday, January 18th, 5:30 p.m. at Barcelos Bakery on Bedford Street in Fall River, where we've been meeting. And we'll be having, I'll be making that event page tonight, so that way anybody joining us on our event page will see it.
Did you say bakery?
Yeah, it is. There were lots of cake and every kind of thing in between.
That's not funny, but funny.
There will be cake. There will always be cake.
Today, I might not eat it tomorrow. I'm like, damn, where's that cake? I'm a chocolate junkie, but I got to be in the mood.
Listen, I took a bunch of that cake home because as we were cleaning, there was a lot left. I'm like, listen, I will take all the cake. Like, I have no problem with that.
We had our holiday social, which is a great event. Let's give that a plug out right now. We had this our second annual one, and you two received some community service awards from the network. No, well, I just got one this week,
Right, but nevertheless.
Yeah, we just had our 1-year anniversary for the LGBTQ Voice. So, Rebecca, I know you probably watched it. She gave us some nice magnets with our logo on it, and it's at my fridge at home. So we wanted to give you guys a shout out. So, Antonio just became a member of the network. But every time that we do an event and we say, hey, listen, we need a vendor at our table, what's going on? Can you guys give it? I know we didn't say it, but can you talk about where you guys work and what you guys do for the community and for the
Sure. I'll let Marlon speak on that.
Marlon, go for it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So we both work together at the Greater New Bedford Community Health Center.
Don't know what that was.
A lot of outreach for the LGBT, not just the community in general, but LGBTQ community specifically. Education, awareness, and inclusion. We want everybody to feel comfortable. That's one of our missions.
And connecting people to services
center
as well.
Is just making sure, because for years, I mean, like I've stated to several people, you're not always comfortable at your provider disclosing your sexuality for fear of stigma or whatever, just judgment. So we do post in the health center, to be honest, and we're open to everybody, every sexuality, all sexuality. So,
I can be straight and go.
Of course,
not just gay.
Yes.
Even though it's the LGBT.
All our allies.
Hey, yeah.
So one of the signs, I was trying to think of the sign, it's do ask, do tell.
Yeah.
And we kind of took that from something that we saw and made it a big poster and placed it in urgent care as well as different departments in the health center, as well as our Wareham site.
So I know I've seen you guys out and about. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you guys, is there that they wanted to go to their business to talk? Do you guys do that as well? Or is it just? We do. Okay, so is there an email address you want to shout out to these guys, or how they get a hold of y'all?
Sure. mbarrows@gnbchc, which is Greater New Bedford Community Health Center.org, or arodriguez@gnbchc.org.
Yeah.
Or feel free to stop by. We're at 874 Purchase Street.
So you do drop-ins? People just walk right in, that you don't need an appointment? Appointments are better?
No, we're always available to talk. Someone will talk to you if you can't.
Like an intake.
And anybody can commit at any given time for counseling and testing as well. I know that there was some talk recently about where to go for counseling and testing. We've always been there. I want to make people aware of that.
Yeah, and that
We're very welcoming, very inclusive. We just want to let people know that we are visible. We want to make sure that people know that the culture where we work is absolutely accepting and open, and you can be yourself. There's no judgment. I know for me, it took me quite a while to come out to my doctor. I think almost 25 years, Yes, I am that old.
Hey.
So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. I was really uncomfortable with that when I was growing up.
We'll let them know what counseling and testing is. We know what it is.
Oh, well.
But we work there. Counseling and testing is basically HIV, Hep C, syphilis, all STDs,
all the STIs.
STIs screening. And before you get tested, the counseling portion is just the risk assessment, the questionnaire of all the behaviors that you've had, so the providers can know where and what to test for.
So the other thing too is we had our monthly meeting last night for the network, and Eileen has been tallying up our, what the hell is that form?
Oh, you talking about the surveys?
Yes, thank you.
That came up. Yeah, I was surprised.
We have a survey that has been out there on our website, and it asks you, do you feel comfortable going to your doctor? All the questions you could possibly think of, and that's where that came from last night. That people, what is it, 30, 68? 30, I forgot the percentage.
I don't remember the number, so
I don't have my notes
say
with me. I'm the secretary, sorry.
But it was quite a high number, I think, so I just want people to
didn't
know
know
that.
where they could get resources for that, and we're like, are you kidding us?
We have plenty of resources.
Oh my God,
in the state.
between
We're very
you
lucky.
and the health imperatives that we have on our board, and not that they're not on our board, Seven Hills Behavioral Health. I mean, there's so many that are like, knock, knock, who's there,
Yeah, I think part of that too might be the stigma attached to sexual health. Just, sexual health is overall health. There's always a stigma attached to that. People, I say, if you're doing it, talk about it. If you're, you need to really have a comfortable space and zone to really talk to your doctor, your provider, about what's really going on. And if you keep that from your doctor, you're just really hindering yourself and putting yourself at risk and others that you may love and care for. So I think it's really important to be transparent and clear, and we want to somehow provide that feeling to anyone who comes to our center.
Well, it's funny because even my doctor, when I first got tested, I said, listen, I have a partner and she wants me to be tested. He goes, my doctor said, my ex-husband, wonderful guy, we have the same doctor for years. He goes, but you're only with Chris. And I go, it doesn't matter if I was only with Chris. I go, my partner wants me to be tested. And he's like, looking at me, I'm like, just test me. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, but this is just, don't get me wrong, this is 25 years, 20 years ago. So we're going to stop talking about this, and we're going to talk about why you guys are really here. So, I'm going to flip my page, I actually already flipped it, so I'm good to go. So, last year, it was called NewLGBTQ Bedford Winter Film Series. So last year was the first year, and, why was this needed for our community? What's going on?
Well, I think we can go back to what Shaunak said. I think it's important to create a community where people feel comfortable and not visible, and come and do some networking and just be part of something bigger. I think we lack a sense of community in New Bedford at times within our own community. And what I like to see is not having people having to go to Providence to feel that way, or not having to go to P-Town to feel that way. So it's really important because growing up, I didn't have a space to go to. I would have loved a movie series with themes about our community when I was 20, 21, 22, 23. That didn't happen, obviously. We just started last year. It was super successful, as a matter of fact, so much so that we have a second one, and we had to change venue because we needed a bigger space. So there is a need. I think it's one of those things, build it and they'll come, and I think that's what we're trying to do, and I think it's an incredible time. And winter is really harsh. Why not come out on a Sunday and enjoy a great movie, meet some people, bring a date, bring a few friends, come over. So it is needed, so we can start building a sense of
plug in there,
acceptance.
like a Sunday fun day. You can go to
absolutely.
You walk downtown,
brunch.
walk around.
Freestones has brunch on Sunday now. Carmine's also has brunch. Have brunch somewhere, and then the movie starts at 1 p.m. So
the last Sunday of every month, starting in January. As a matter of fact, our first movie debuting is Moonlight, one of my favorites. Really beautiful movie. I describe it as visual poetry. So we talked about selecting a few of the movies, and they kind of hit all genres of our community. I like to think so. I wouldn't say genres, but all facets, I would say.
It's kind of like we do the show. We have different topics to kind of, how is it going to, everybody might not go to all four of them, but may go to 3 out of the 4.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of people coming back. Last year, Marlon and I worked it as well. There was a lot of people coming back to see the show, and we saw all ages, and it was really interesting to see seniors coming in, and allies. Not necessarily, you don't have to be part of our community to be part of it, to come see it, and I found it to be amazing. We also brought a lot of resources. We're trying to connect people to services, letting people know where you can get help. We always have a theme for the movies. So we'll have
so the resources last year, the Women's Center was there, Greater Bedford Health was there, Seven Hills was there, the network was there, WYCA was there. I'm trying to remember.
There.
I'm like, the museum, I'm like,
Yeah.
I remember each booth.
And it's grown so big.
Yeah.
We have so many more partners and collaborations. I know that the New Bedford Library just came on board. Thank you so much. They've been great. They're actually going to be there. They'll be able to check out books and media if you're interested, and actually register you to become to have your library card, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. We have health
They're gonna have a
imperatives.
excuse me, the mobile van, the mobile library van, or
I actually believe they're going to bring the books right to you, so you can actually go to a desk and get scanned out a media. Yeah, so that's really interesting and nice.
So last year's film was How to Survive a Plague, Two Spirits, I Am Not Your Negro, Southwest of Salem, Story of the San Antonio Fours. What I thought was good last year, the Two Spirits, they actually had one of the relatives, right?
Yeah, there were some people that did, and we had a live performance. But we with anything, we asked for a lot of feedback last year, and some of the things that came up were the movies were all documentary type, so they wanted to see more features.
Yeah.
So that's what we've done this year. They're all great movies. We have, actually Moonlight was an Oscar-winning movie. It won in 2016, I believe. I think people might have forgotten about that because there was that whole La La thing. They called La La Land first, and it was actually Moonlight that was that did win. So it kind of became a little foggy on that. But I remember wanting to watch this movie, and it was nowhere around. And it wasn't until it got some accolades for being the great movie that it is that it came closer to Providence. Actually, in Providence is where I seen it. And I remember seeing this movie and wanted to bring a bunch of people back to see it again because it was just so beautiful, so well.
I have not seen it.
Yeah, I think you should. Or you will.
Well, it's tough because when we had it before, the venue was so small, and we wanted to be on a resource table that when you go in, I didn't want to stand for the movie. So
this has double the capacity. I think
wicked.
over 200 people could come and watch the movie.
So where's it going to be at?
It's going to be at
in the auditorium at the Whaling City Museum.
Yeah,
18 Johnny Cake Hill in New Bedford.
Yeah. So how were the movies chosen? Like, I mean, what was there a particular order? I mean, is it?
Well, it wasn't a particular order, but I think I wanted to start with Moonlight as some of the people as well because it got such critical acclaim and it was so well received. And since people wanted a feature and not a documentary, so I thought that was a good kickoff. But we have 4 movies, usually that's what we do. This one is the first. The second one is Cloudburst. We could talk about that if you like.
Sure.
Olympia Dukakis is in it. It's about it's about an elder couple who decide to go to Canada to get married in that whole entire process and what that took. And because this was obviously before we could get married.
Yeah.
So it's an older couple in their 60s, possibly even their 70s. So that there's that component there and what it means to be gay and older in this day and age.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then we have 3 Generations, which is also a very great movie. It kind of, the theme would be around trans and coming out to your family, what that means, and that whole process and being accepting and coming to your whole self and how that affects family units. So another great movie. And I think we conclude with Pariah in April, which is also a really critically acclaimed movie out of New York about a lesbian who knows who she is, very well aware of who she is, but the issue is coming out to her mom and what that means. So come down, come see it. It's really a great space.
One of the things that I liked is we call the network, or you should say it's shorter. Rebecca and I were at BCC, and we were doing a fair with them. And as I'm going around giving all our pamphlets, hi, my car, how you doing, how you doing, how you doing? There was a couple that said, oh, I know you. You were at the Winter Film Series. Me and my husband went. Yeah. So it was just amazing. At BCC, you never know who you're going to see, where you're going to go. And we told them we were doing it again this year to please look for it. And they loved it. So is there a cost involved? Does it cost to get in, Marlon?
Not at all. Free to the public, free to anyone.
Is it handicap accessible?
Handicap accessible.
So I know last year there was some snacks and beverages. Will you guys have that again if I'm, want to get my munchie on?
Yeah, we will.
Afterwards.
There is no food allowed in the theater. Sorry, guys. So therefore, this food will be
you can't bring your popcorn from home. Stop that.
We'll have great snacks there, actually. So it'll be all post.
So shout out to Linda Spinner. She says hi, guys.
Hello, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
And Linda.
Thank you.
Linda has been on our show as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
When
an
we did our show
incredible
on
ally as
HIV.
well.
Yep. Let's see. We already talked about the resource tables. Do we know who else is going to be there besides the NewLGBTQ?
I can give you the name of the collaborating community
why
partners
don't you
if you
do
like.
that?
So that includes the Community Counseling of Bristol County, the Greater New Bedford Community Health Center, the Health Imperatives, New Bedford Art Museum, Artworks, the New Bedford Free Public Library, the New Bedford Historic Society, the New Bedford Whaling City Museum, the New Bedford Whaling National Historic Park, Seven Hills Behavioral Health, the South Coast LGBTQ Network, the Women's Center, UMass Dartmouth Center for Women and Gender and Sexuality, the YMCA of Southern Massachusetts as well. So this
It's
group
growing.
is
It's growing.
yeah,
Oh,
which
wicked.
is amazing. It's
Yeah.
so good to see that so many community partnerships are being built around this, because there is a need. There is a need to create a sense for our community of a place to come to and be visible and be accepted and be heard.
Oh, yeah, I think it's amazing. I know beginning of last month, I believe, I was invited to be part of the New Bedford Lyceum. And there was like 30 to 50 organizations that are talking diversity. How can we help everybody out? And it's straight, gay, everything that you can imagine. And we're going to be meeting and talking about how we can help each other out and where we're going.
And that's how it has to be. It has to be
Yeah.
not just our community.
Yeah.
We need allies. We need everybody to
Yeah.
come in to be part of this process. You know, this is how we become better.
So on the show, guys, if you guys have a topic idea, if you want to come on the show, AJ, can you put up the sponsorship page? You guys can sponsor the show. You guys can do a whole show takeover and make it all yours. Right now, the topic ideas are ours, and we invite the guests and whatnot. And there's no fee for the guests, so I want to kind of pop that out there. 50% of all the proceeds we get goes to the network and goes to all the programs that we're doing and future programs that we want to do. And we want to continue growing. So there's no paid positions here. Eileen is the only one. She's our network coordinator. She's an amazing lady. But we do it to make our kids have a better day, to make sure that our seniors are taken care of, and to make sure that our community is better every day. So there's a shout out and a page, you know, if you guys want to sponsor the show, you can do a straight donation. And like I said, 50% of the proceeds goes to the network, and 50% goes to the New Bedford Guide. It's their studio. I know you can't see AJ, but AJ's over there. And all the technical work, all the camera work, everything that you can't see. But tonight, and we're actually going to post some pictures of us from a view of our production assistant, Kevin, over there. He took some pictures for us, so we'll put that up on the LGBTQ Voice page when the show is done. Let's see. So I heard you were interviewed on a Coasting podcast. How was that experience?
I was invited. Thank you so much, Jamie and Dan. It was great. It was a podcast. We were at the Standard Times building, again, discussing the museum and how involved they are with the entire process, but as well this film series.
Yeah.
It was great. It was really fun. Yeah, it was my first time doing a podcast. So.
Well, and Jamie and Dan actually got an award at our holiday dinner
Yes.
as well. Our holiday dinner has been at their place. And it was
At the Art
nice.
Museum, yes.
Yeah, the Art Museum, thank you.
I don't want them thinking it was at their house.
Oh, no, no. Hey! But it was a really nice venue, you know, it's right downtown, you know, really close to if you wanted to go out for dinner first, but we had a good spread of food, and just people get to mingle and just talk and see how it's going. So we're going to be doing that every year.
That was
which is
actually one of
nice.
my favorite events of the year. I often tell Marlon that
Yeah.
it was just you should come, by the way, just a great space
Yeah.
for us to get together and just relax. And
Yeah.
it was right after Christmas, so it was
Just
just
after
a
the holidays, so
perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
It was
Fresh
December
holidays.
27th,
Yeah,
you know what I
it was
mean?
great.
Right after Christmas, right before New
Yeah.
Year's, I mean, I forgot the
It's
time
died
now.
down a little bit
But
soon.
yeah, my son actually came, it was like
Yeah.
nice, I'm like, oh, you know, shout out to my kid. So is there a Facebook page event for this?
There is a Facebook event for this. Thank you, Dan. Dan has created that.
Yeah.
And you can also follow us on Facebook at NewLGBTQ Winter Film Series or at www.sclgbtqnetwork.org. Sorry, I didn't have to read that.
Tell me about it. We used to have cue cards, but like I couldn't tell you. It would say my name just in case people forgot my name.
Yeah.
There'd be cards on the back of it. I had to put it because there's just too many damn letters. Then I get
Right.
confused because I have a work email, a personal email, and I had this email for the network, and I'm like, so now I'm better at it.
Good, good.
And now they got smart. At the header of each show, it says,
Wicked
welcome
smart.
to... Wicked smart. It tells people, hi, Tracy's got the show tonight, or Eileen's got the show tonight, contact an app. So it's actually on the header. so people to get. Go ahead.
I wanted to mention, I don't know if we did, and maybe we did, we have post discussions after the movie, and there's going to be an incredible set of people coming down to have discussions. Obviously, we want the audience to partake. It wouldn't work without the audience participating. So feel free to come down and ask all kinds of questions. We will have an incredible panel. This Moonlight is going to be amazing. I think all of them will be. But we'll have discussions on race, we'll have discussions on gender, on sexuality, what it means to be gay, what it means to be masculine, what it means to be accepted, what it means to be rejected, who's there to kind of navigate through that for you. So I'm looking forward to it very much.
Well, with last year's shows, I kept peeking in, you know, and I had my camera, so I was taking pictures as well as Rebecca. And people were just asking the questions. I wish was able to see more of the movies. But it's amazing. I mean, how often do you get to go to a movie and at the end there's a question and answer, if you want to call it that, a discussion, and how do people feel about it? And we had some younger kids in there. We had people brought their little kids.
Very diverse.
We had some people in wheelchairs last year. Elders were there. I mean, everything people of color. I mean, it was just an open discussion, people talking openly, and that's what I love about the network. And that we've always done that. We've agreed to disagree. What do you think? What do you think? Okay, now keep going. Next.
Super inclusive.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised at how many people were there actually, and how many questions were asked, and how long the post discussion was. People really wanted a place to come and talk and be heard and have an exchange and a dialogue about some of the things that are affecting our community and what we can do to make it better.
I thought you had a thought.
I did.
No.
I was going to say standing room only last year, but that's why we have the big event this year.
I mean, and I think maybe people last year thought, well, maybe I shouldn't come to the next one because not enough room, I've already been to one, you know, but it was just amazing to see and then again, we saw some of the same people, you know, because when you walk by us, I'm like, oh, they were here last time. And we have registers, you can register to help the network. Volunteer, thank you, I appreciate that. Eileen has been working on a volunteer program for us, and we're hoping to have a meeting for the network in January now, in February. So we'll get back to you guys on that. We just put up our Facebook event page for Pride. We will be June 1st at Buttonwood Park. And I've also already talked to New Bedford Wellness. They'll be doing their 1.9 wellness walk around the park. And then Jeff Costa will be doing yoga in the morning. We're hoping this year to have a farmer's market in one corner and live graffiti artists in another corner. So this year's Pride is we've already started kicking things off. Jacqueline DeMera will be our hostess this year. She got back to me. So we're already kicking butt, and hopefully, I know Rebecca's refining our sponsorship for Pride, and hopefully we'll have that up for February and kind of get that out there. But again, there's Facebook pages for the LGBTQ Voice, the South Coast LGBTQ Network, and you can also find the event on Facebook for South Coast Pride, so that's out there. It's not going to be as long a show as we normally have, guys. We just want to bring some guests in tonight and talk. I just want to put up a couple of things. Thank you. AJ's putting up right now. St. Peter's Episcopal Church, they've been on our show. We did a show of acceptance. And we did something else too. I can't remember what it was. But February 10th, they have a winter concert, and the proceeds go to the youth and LGBTQ programs at St. Peter's Episcopal Church. So that's up there right now. And Cape Cod Pride. So we're doing shout outs to other prides in our area. Cape Cod Pride, and I kind of wrote my notes somewhere, sorry guys, in Falmouth on January 20th, which is this Sunday, from 4 to 7 at Flinny's Bar 3. They're having like a fundraiser, like you guys did your drag brunch. They're having a fundraiser there, a tea dance. And their Pride is actually June 22nd, and they're actually bringing it back to Highness Village Green, which is amazing. They had it at Falmouth High School last year. I had a really great turnout, and that's where I actually met one of the Stonewall survivors. David and Dave, yep, I was there. I was. And they actually sent me an email and asked me how it was in the 90s and how I could help them out. So I returned, unfortunately, I do apologize. I returned the email quite late. But if they ever need any help, you know, they could be more than glad to hit us up, and the network would be more than glad to help and get them back on their feet, because there hasn't been a Cape Cod Pride for a lot of years, and last year was the first one in a really long time. But having the Village Green downtown, we used to do a march all the way around the Village Green downtown, so shout out to them. So I know AJ put that up. AJ put up the winter concert. If you guys want to know more about Fall River Pride, you can hit them up, Fall River Pride, on Facebook, and the Winter Film Series is on Facebook as well. Do you guys want to end with anything? What's up?
Yeah, so I'm like a twig in the wind. I'm just happy to be here, because it's incredible. You know, growing up in a time where I didn't think that I would ever be able to. I didn't come out of the closet until I was 19. So to kind of be here, I actually worked at the Women and Gender Sexuality Center from UMass Dartmouth.
Oh, so you know Mitch?
Yep, I know Mitch very well.
Mitch is on our board.
Oh, I love Mitch.
Mitch
I haven't seen her before, because she came in one of my last years before I graduated, and so just to kind of see all of it, this has just been a surreal experience, and to see how much more there is of our community, to see it kind of out and proud, and to kind of finally be following up in you guys' footsteps, to be kind of taking our own steps to bring a fall River Pride, and to kind of really continue to diversify our community and show our spirit and our strength is just incredible. And definitely a shout out to Eileen, because she was the one who reached out directly to me. She's incredible. She's the one who reached out to our group, who came to our meetings, who kind of helped us get situated when we were like, we have all these ideas, but we don't know what to do.
She's like, stop it.
She was like, stop. She's like, slow down. She's like, one thing at a time. I'm like, all right, we'll get this. And so it's incredible being part of this network. It's incredible hearing about this film series. Now you just opened up to a whole new market, because I'm going to mention this at my Fall River Pride meetings too, because we don't have any series like that in Fall River. So it would be incredible to continue to grow and to continue to show, how strong our community is and how much spirit we have.
I think that's one of the reasons why I love the name, the South Coast LGBTQ Network, because we're networking all the time. And you guys were at BSU with us, you both were, and they actually spoke in front of the students. We were actually 80 GSA kids. It was an amazing event.
Bridgewater State University.
Yeah, Bridgewater State University.
We live in these acronyms.
Most definitely. What's LGBTQ stand for?
What I found what amazes me is the fact, and I said it when we spoke, was the fact that they actually have these clubs in middle school, from middle school to high school, where when we were coming up in high school, junior high, we didn't have those type of clubs. We weren't even thinking about coming out or alluding that we might be interested in the same sex. That these students are out and proud.
They're empowering themselves.
Well, I like to think it's some of the work that we've done in our own life, in our own generation, and I think you're carrying that torch as well with what you're doing in Fall River. I think it's all about visibility. It's about accepting who you are and accepting our community, because there is absolutely nothing but beauty in our community, so it's important that we create the space, like I said earlier, build it and they'll come, kind of, and that's what's happening, there's a need, and if you don't partake in that.
On one of the Facebook pages that I'm on, somebody asked if there was an alt pride coming up in Rhode Island or something like that, so I told them about our pride, and I said, we're an inclusive pride. We've had drag performers, we've had trans performers, we've had singers, we had Vinny the Bubble Guy will be back this year. I forgot to shout out to Vinny. I mean, just you name it. We will do it. We will, like you said, if you build it, they will come. But we have to still let them know we're here. This is where we're at right now. We have to let them know where we're at. Like you said, nobody knows when to get tested. I'm like, what do you mean no one knows when to get tested?
Well, they should know. I mean, I've done a lot of work, and so has Marlon, making sure that people do know. So I was kind of surprised at that.
If you guys, depending on the show, we have, 2,000 to 5,000 viewers see it. If you guys could just share it on your page,
absolutely.
Tag 5 of your friends. And ask 5 of your friends to tag it and just kind of spread the news out. Each show will kind of get out there.
I'm streaming live now. On my page, I'm streaming live now.
Yeah, we're streaming. We are.
Well, I am. My page as well.
Well, I can see it now. So there's nobody else that says anything. So I know there's a lot of people watching. So my friends that are my friends on my page, I can see who's watching. But I don't know if they want to give me a shout out to their name. So I won't give them a shout out. But we appreciate all the viewers. And again, I will be back next week. Take care. Have a good night.